Hey everyone, welcome to a camera test. This time I'll be accompanying you. So this is the camera app on the Vivo X70 Pro. We'll be checking a lot of cool stuff out. So look at the aspect ratios, right? So this is the square. There is 4:3, which is the one I use the most, as you'll see in my videos. There is 16:9. And finally there is full, which is basically the aspect ratio of the entire phone screen. This looks really good if you're looking at the phone externally, but the photo quality goes down because it's essentially cropping a lot of the photo out. So you're getting less quality. Still, 4:3 is my preferred aspect ratio, but since this is a video, I'd rather have a 16:9. Now, let's take some photos. I want you to look at the processing this phone does, and I want you to look at the bottom over here. This over here, this AI icon at the bottom right of the screen next to the modes that I'm clicking on right now, it changes whatever you point the phone at. And I think that's amazing. Like, if you point this at a landscape, it becomes like cloud and sun. So if you take a photo, you can see it's processing the photo and you get this output. Now I want to compare HDR versus non-HDR photo. So let's point at the sun here. Let's take a non-HDR photo first, turning off HDR as you can see on the left side. Now let's take an HDR photo. Now let's take a look at the photos side by side. You can see there is a difference. Look here. It's kind of blindingly bright, right? And if you look at the other photo of the same area, it's kind of toned it down and made it more visible so you can see the detail in that bright spot. So it looks artificial, but that's the price you pay for a good image, right? If you go, this is ultra wide, by the way. Let's go to 1x because that's the best quality sensor on the phone, 50 megapixels. And let's shoot some photos. So beautiful. So HDR is on, obviously, and you can see that the sky is bluer in this image, and this is probably because of the post-processing. Now let's try Zeiss color mode, and there's a pretty cool thing about this in a minute. I'll tell you about it, but Zeiss color mode, and you can see, I want you to look right now, look at the difference it makes. Zeiss off, Zeiss on. Let's take a photo with normal photo mode and a photo with Zeiss mode on. This is supposed to mimic what you see with your eyes. Looking at them side by side, obviously the normal one is more saturated, which is like the traditional kind of Chinese phone company way of doing things. There is definitely a difference. And about that difference, I'd like to show you another feature this phone got with the Android 13 update. So if you move your finger, if you tap on the screen and you move your finger to the left or the right, you can actually control the saturation of the image. Look again. So you can go all grayscale, or you can go all the way to right and make everything super saturated and poppy. Or you can go to the middle, or you can go to this dot over here for Zeiss natural color. Look at the dot. When you move the slider, there's a dot. Wow, I think this is such a useful feature to have. I'm so happy they added this. This is so thoughtful. Another feature that you have adjustment for is exposure. So if you move your finger down and up, you can automatically control the I think the EV, or basically the sum of all the exposure, ISO, everything. There's another feature though where you can move up and down separate from the central focus point, and you can control the exposure alone, and that can be useful in some situations, such as when the sun is too bright or something. But again, post-processing fixes all that for you. But for all the people who want to tinker with settings, this is a great feature to have. Now another great feature on this phone is the macro mode. So if we tap here, we can use auto macro mode, which you'll see what I mean. So if my hand is at a distance, it's fine, it's good. And if I move it closer to the phone, watch what happens. It's switched to the ultra wide, and now I can take really good close-ups with the macro mode. And if I move it away again, it switches back to the main sensor. This is such a great feature, and I'd like to add that actually the ultra wide sensor is 12 megapixels, so you're getting a 11 megapixel something macro lens on this phone. Most phones come with a 2 megapixel macro lens, so this is such a great feature, and I hope this trickles down to cheaper phones, more affordable phones. It's so cool to have. Turn this off now. I usually keep macro on off because I don't take too many macro photos, but when I do, it's always quite fun. Honestly, it's not a gimmick at all. Okay, now let's talk about the elephant in the room. Zoom. So this phone has 60x zoom technically, but honestly, I would say up till 15x you're good, or even like 10x. So what you really care about in this case is how much can you actually zoom on this phone such that the output looks usable. And for that, I would say is around 10x. So here we're at ultra wide, and we slowly zoom in. 2x. Now we're shifting to the 5x telephoto. Oh, actually, I think this is still on the 2x telephoto for some reason. If you go beyond that, it switches to... Okay, I'm a bit confused which... Okay, so this is... I think it's currently on the 5x telephoto lens. I don't know why the stabilization is not kicking in, but yeah. If you move to 10x, which is what we're at right now, it's pretty good. Like, it's usable. Wow. An iPhone could not do something like this, at least not an affordable one. And this is so cool. Like, you can go all the way to like 47, 50x, but like I would honestly keep it up to 10x, 20x, 15x max, because it's usable, right? Okay, now we're done with zoom. Let's go to other features. Video. Now you have a lot of cool video modes on this phone. If I click on the options, you can go all around, right? You can have 4K at 3 different frame rates, so 24, 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second. Although 4K at 60 frames per second uses up a ton of battery, overheats the phone in my long experience with this phone, and the video is really janky. I just wouldn't recommend it that much. Instead, I would just recommend a GoPro if you want that kind of video and frame rate. If you want to use 4K, use it at 30 FPS, or don't use it at all, because it gets really janky. Can you see the shutter lag when I move the phone around? If you go to 1080p though, things become like 10 times better. You can go to 60 FPS. Wonderful stabilization, beautiful visuals. I don't know if you can tell because the screen recorder's frame rate is lower, but if you move to 1080p, the video quality is just much better. Things are much smoother. It's just much easier to watch. So 1080p at 30 FPS is pretty much the best you can do on this phone. And 60 FPS is great. Oh, and then there's stabilization. So let's go to the stabilization settings. We have off, which is no stabilization at all. We have, let's see, we have standard, which stabilizes the video. I'm shaking the phone a lot, by the way, right now. I'm shaking the phone. I can't show you on screen, but I am. And ultra. Now I'm really shaking the phone. And I am honestly amazed. I'm tilting the phone, shaking it. Wow. Honestly, ultra stable is such a great feature. I just wish they could up the quality, like make it 2K resolution or something, instead of 1080p. That would be so cool. I think it's easily doable nowadays, because this is not a new phone. Still, I think it's a wonderful option because it'll be much cheaper now, I think, if you can find it on certain websites. Video also, you have zoom. So I should mention, beyond 1080p, beyond 30 FPS, you're not allowed to zoom with the optical lens. But if you go to 1080p at 30 frames per second, basically, you can zoom in and use the periscope lens in video, which I think is such a useful feature. Like, you could shoot like proper, like, documentary level stuff Okay, not documentary level stuff, but really, you can make things look more cinematic with that zoom lens. Like, watch this, 5x. Look at that. Video. You can record video like this. I'm recording a video of a video. Lol. Okay, so that's ultra wide, and oh yeah, there's night video as well, but obviously it's not night right now, so lol. Let's shift to another mode. Portrait mode is really cool. Now let me show you guys what portrait mode can do. Let me show you my not so flattering face, and so as you can see, it's detecting the background and it's doing something. I don't think it's doing much though. Yeah, the portrait mode is not kicking in today. I don't know why. Let me try 1x. Wait. Okay. Wow. Okay. Oh my god. Unexpected. This is beautiful. Oh my god, I could just use this as a profile picture. This is so good. Wow. Look at the edge detection is ridiculously good now. I think they've really tweaked this stuff. It's really good. In fact, I'm gonna take a chance and I don't know if this is gonna work. I'm gonna go to biotar mode and see what it can do. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Taking a chance here. Will it look good? Oh, wow. Okay. Look at that. Look at the... This is so cool. Look at that. It makes it look like one of those biotar Zeiss lenses. Now, it's not 100% great. I'm pretty sure nitpicking people would be like, what the hell? But to most people, this is amazing. Like, an iPhone cannot do anything close to this, not even the latest iPhones. It looks so good. It's so nice to have this customizability. And here's the thing, guys, you can click on bokeh and you can adjust the focus, so you can make it like this, or you can make it like this, right? And you can adjust how blurred the background is, if at all. And that's such a useful feature. I don't know why other brands don't do stuff like this. This Zeiss portrait mode, it's such a nice feature to have. Look at this. This is why I bought this phone, guys. This is why I bought this phone. I love it so much. This is so cool. Alright guys, portrait mode, night mode, obviously it's daytime right now, so can't use that. Let's go to more. And there's a lot of funky stuff here, right? You have like, what, 12 options. So there's live photo, slow-mo, supermoon. You know what, for fun, let's try panorama. You have two different modes on this phone, standard and super pano. So since this is a horizontal video, I'll do it like this. Oh shit. So the gimbal helps in these situations. Wow, you know what? This might look good. Despite all my horrible panorama skills, this might actually look good. Look at this. What do you think? Looks a bit wonky, but you know, not bad. I don't know many people who use panorama, but it's nice to have all those features. 50 megapixel now. 50 megapixel is basically the mode which uses the full sensor size, so all those 50 million pixels on the sensor. Now the problem with this though is the dynamic range falls drastically. Watch this. So what you're getting is extra detail, right? Watch, if I zoom into a photo, you can zoom in a lot because it's extremely detailed. Wow. It's a bit noisy, but it's extremely detailed. And so this is a great mode if you want to take really good close-ups, or if you, I don't know, like, I'm not sure when you would use 50 megapixel, but I'm happy it's there, right? As a tinkerer, as a geek, someone who loves to go into camera settings, this kind of stuff is what we live for. But if you want to go close up to something, you can just use macro. But let me show you the trade-off of using 50 megapixels. let me show you the trade-off. The trade-off, the price of using 50 megapixels is this. Watch. So this is a 50 megapixel photo we just took. And this is a normal photo. Wait. And this is a normal photo I just took. I want you to look at the difference between the normal photo, which is this one, and the 50 megapixel one. Can you see the difference? Here, my hand is much darker and it's hard to see the detail. Whereas in the normal one, you can see the lines, you can see the detail because high dynamic range is kicked in. And the price of that is the phone doesn't seem to have the processing power to run HDR on a 50 megapixel photo, which is understandable. I mean, it's a lot of pixels, man. So when the lighting is good, use 50 MP, otherwise don't. But yeah, there's document mode, there's long exposure mode, there's it's not nighttime, but let me just show you all the cool modes. So in long exposure, you have flow of traffic, you have night graffiti, which I've tried, you have waterfalls. I've tried all these modes. Fireworks, start rails. Start rails is probably the one I use the most, and here you can control how many hours you want the phone to take a photo for, because remember, long exposure means that the phone is sitting somewhere for a long time and taking a photo. Yeah, so that's long exposure. Anyway, there's some info here. You can see what the stuff does. I think it's really awesome what Vivo has done with this phone. I love how fun this phone is to use. Thank you. Wait. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little camera test. I hope you had some fun looking at the camera settings. I hope you had as much fun as I did. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. And turn this thing off.